relationship was extremely complex, and various people will have different opinions about it's not simply internet rumors that Ariella's death could be related to street connection. These guys were signed. And because Fred and I are on the same label, that's in 2017. He subsequently asserted that Trippie was a member of the opposing 59 Brims gang. Then things became very real in November 2017. In the lobby of a hotel in New York, Trippie said live on Instagram that he was jumped by 6ix9ine's crew and that 9tray9 members struck him in the mouth. At my hotel, bro was waiting for me. About 9 deals. Smacked me squarely in the mouth as soon as I entered the building. I was struck in the mouth. After I slapped his bichu, bums, they took off running. This is where it becomes even more bizarre, though. Years later, 6ix9ine admitted to following Trippie's van and planning the attack during his federal trial, testifying that he had actually ordered the hotel attack on Trippie Redd. This wasn't your average street fight. This brutality was intentional and calculated. Both artists went into psychological warfare gear after the physical altercation. They realized that in the era of social media, damaging someone's integrity and character might have a more catastrophic effect than any physical attack. 6ix9ine began attacking all aspects of Trippie, including his genuineness, street cred, and, above all, his interpersonal connections. While both parties denied it, 6ix9ine accused Trippie of having sex with juvenile rapper Bod Bobby in April 2018. But Bobby eventually only acknowledged a kiss when Trippie was 17. Trippie, meanwhile, was retaliating, criticizing 6ix9ine's veracity and denouncing him for enlisting gang members as a form of security. Trippie claimed on Instagram in May 2018 that he should be given credit for 6ix9ine's success, stating that the group wouldn't have any Billboard successes without him. When Trippie chose to collaborate on a diss track with some major big hitters, the feud escalated. I Kill People, an explicit diss directed against 6ix9ine, was released on June 1, 2018 and featured Trippie Redd with Tato and Chief Keef. However, 6ix9ine refused to accept it. He retaliated in the most vicious manner imaginable, accusing Trippie of being a hypocrite during the entire partnership. I recall Trippie lying when he said, "Yo, I can't support no pedophiles and I can't surround myself with that." He also spread a story. He's now working on a song with someone who battered a girl. Trippie created a song with To Do, who had been accused of domestic abuse, despite claiming he couldn't collaborate with those who harm women, as 6ix9ine pointed out. In this verbal duel, 6ix9ine was winning points while the streets watched. Later, he turned the threats into a comedy by posting a video of himself dancing mockingly to I Kill People. By the middle of 2018, both artists were caught in a destructive loop of attempting to be more disrespectful than the other. They had gone too far, bringing up criminal cases, accusing minors of being involved in gang politics, and planning acts of physical violence. However, 6ix9ine was cooking something different. Trippie Redd broke up with his girlfriend Alex in the middle of 2018. He even called her out on Instagram for being promiscuous in thought, predicting that she would wind up with 6ix9ine. This was the ideal prelude to the most heinous and well-thought-out vengeance scheme in hip-hop history. 69 spotted a chance to strike Trippie in the most painful spot: his manhood, his pride, and his reputation. He only required time and the ideal opportunity to attack. You are all aware of how trivial rap feuds can get, particularly when feelings and egos are at stake. However, 6ix9ine's decision to target Trippie's personal relationships elevated the pettiness to a whole new level. 6ix9ine taunted Trippie in October 2018 by sharing pictures and videos of him in bed with Alec Dollar, his ex-girlfriend. This was more than just a musical retaliation against Trippie. The goal was to make him feel as humiliated as possible. Alec Dollar and 6ix9ine were seen singing Trippie's songs in bed together in the video, with 6ix9ine claiming to have shared a bed with him. It was blatant contempt intended to strike Trippie where it would sting the most: his manhood and dignity. Here's why this relates to Ariella's narrative, though. In his feuds, 6ix9ine frequently uses women as weapons. He doesn't simply target his adversaries. He targets those who are important to them. This psychological warfare strategy demonstrates the extent to which this man will go in order to harm his adversaries. However, the tension seemed genuine beneath the taunting. According to his testimony, 6ix9ine planned to take action against Trippie Redd because of their beef, including ordering attacks in retaliation for the diss track. When 6ix9ine was arrested on federal racketeering charges in 2019 and chose to collaborate with investigators, the dynamics of this beef underwent a complete change. He gave information that resulted in convictions and testified against gang members. 6ix9ine's snitching resulted in more than simply a lighter sentence. He became a marked figure in the streets and hip-hop scene as a result. But because he had demonstrated that he was prepared to come clean in order to protect himself, it also meant that anyone who had a grudge against him now needed to watch how they moved. This presented a complex scenario for Trippie. On the one hand, 6ix9ine's collaboration with police enforcement had virtually confirmed Trippie's claims that he was unreliable and lacked street cred. However, it also meant that 6ix9ine was now even more dangerous with a new twist. He had nothing to lose as an FBI informant. The feud between 6ix9ine and Trippie persisted, even after he was released from prison in 2020. The hostility was still very much there in 2023, when Trippie made fun of 6ix9ine's album sales on social media. Here's what sets this beef apart from other rap feuds, though. Music and competition are no longer the only factors. It involves betrayals, grave personal transgressions, and a degree of animosity that has smoldered for years. Anger that goes well beyond typical rap was stoked by 6ix9ine's humiliation of Trippie with his ex-girlfriend, his orders for physical assaults, and his involvement of gang members in federal prosecutions. People demand retribution because of this type of hatred. This type of stake causes individuals to consider long-term consequences. And anything may happen when you combine that degree of personal hostility with the hazardous environment in which these animals live. This conflict is especially troubling because it has steadily become worse over time. It began with verbal abuse, progressed to physical assault, involved intimate connections, contained threats of death, and may now result in a real death. The brutality and repercussions of the beef have been extremely serious, despite some associates even accusing it of being staged for publicity. The wrath and desire for vengeance that grew was real, regardless of whether some of the events were staged for political advantage. This leads us to the terrible night that Ariella Lango studied, and the reasons why some street people think that Trippie Redd's long-standing animosity toward 6ix9ine may have finally found a way to be expressed. That was the night that everything changed. Death, conjecture, and charges. We now reach the crux of this entire awful tale. Ariella Langosta's life was cut short on the evening of August 17, 2025, and the hip-hop community is blaming her and making charges that have the potential to alter everything. Ariella was shot and died in the New York region on August 17, 2025, in what is generally considered to be a fatal shooting. This is where the narrative becomes quite difficult, though. Her death's circumstances are contradictory, unclear, and rife with the kind of street politics that make thorough inquiries all but impossible. According to the official account, Ariella was discovered dead in a car, and investigators are looking into her death as suspicious. However, the facts and locations of this incident vary depending on whose source you trust. According to other accounts, she was discovered in a disabled car at roughly 8:02 a.m. on the Cross County Parkway in Mount Vernon, where the shooting occurred. Other stories link her death to a mass shooting that occurred at the Taste of the City Lounge in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, at approximately 3:27 a.m., leaving 3 people dead and 10 injured. There is a reason why the fundamental details of what transpired that evening are unclear. When the street falls down and no one wants to speak to the cops, it might lead to a certain kind of chaos. The streets began to fill in the gaps with their own theories and the lack of definitive information. And a few of these hypotheses specifically mention the long-standing animosity between 6ix9ine and Trippie Redd as a possible reason. According to a number of stories, Ariella was with Nata Cartier, who was either her man or a suspected gang leader at the time of the shooting. Some individuals don't agree with the premise that Ariella was simply caught in the crossfire because the gunshot was directed at him. One of the most widely held explanations is that Ariella was singled out because of her affiliation with 6ix9ine, with others speculating that this may have been related to his adversaries seeking revenge. Anyone in close proximity to a known snitch who has turned against entire gangs and several rappers is a potential target. This is where things get really crazy, though. Some individuals in the streets are speculating that 6ix9ine's associates weren't the target of random retaliation. They claim that this had more to do with the particular feud between Trippie and Tekashi, was more premeditated, and was more personal. I want to be clear right away. Neither reliable sources nor popular rumors have connected Trippie Redd to Ariella's demise. No direct linkages or rumors with any real basis were Ariella Langosta was a real person who died in a senseless act of violence, and that is the sad reality. Whether the violence sprang from random criminality, 6ix9ine's personal associations, her adversaries, or something else entirely, the outcome is identical. Those who cared for the young woman are left to mourn her death. Today, we lost our shining star, Ariella Langosta. Our hearts are broken. Your joy, your humility, and the way you treated everyone with so much care always made you stand out. This is how she should be remembered, according to a tribute issued by her workplace, Icon, New York. As a person who impacted the lives of those around her, not as a victim of conspiracy theories or a pawn in some rap feud, it would seem that the rumors that Trippie Redd was involved in her demise are unfounded. There is no solid proof that he is connected to this catastrophe, despite the fact that his feud with 6ix9ine has been genuine and fierce. No one has been arrested in connection with Ariella's death as of yet, and investigations are still underway. To find out exactly what happened that night and who, if anyone, should be held accountable, the New York Police Department and other authorities are working. Everything else is merely conjecture and rumor until formal charges, legal proceedings, and confirmed facts are presented. Additionally, there will always be more conjecture than facts in a case involving someone as contentious as 6ix9ine. A terrible death, a bereaved community, continuous investigations, and several unresolved issues are all that remain. Hopefully, there won't be any more tragedies or acts of violence in the real world as a result of the ongoing feud between Trippie Redd and 6ix9ine. We have now reached the conclusion of this video. Click on the cards on your screen to view more captivating videos like this one.